Aqidah, it was agreed upon, consensus, alhamdulillah, including the 4 Imams. No issue. That's why it's important to know the 3 categories, because you refer to the category of Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, which is singling Allah out in worship. You don't worship dead people, you don't call on angels, you don't call on dead, you have this sorted out. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. But you also have Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, which is usually the foundation upon which you build this one, knowing that Allah is the creator, sustainer, provider. You know that He's the one who manages this world, not anybody else. But these are 2 categories. The third, which is the most critical in many ways, because it is the completion of both, is knowing the names and attributes of Allah. What do we believe about Allah? I mean, when we speak about Allah, when Allah mentions in the Quran that He has a face, وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. What am I supposed to, as a believer, believe about an ayah which says Allah has a face, or that Allah has hands? مَا مَنَعَكَ أَن تَسْجُدَ لِمَا خَلَقْتُ بِيَدَيْ. He said to Iblis, what prevented you from prostrating to the one who I've created with my 2 hands? In reference to Adam alayhi salam. So you as a believer, you come across this ayat, you should ask yourself, wait a second, where do I stand? Do I say, no way, the Quran used these words? Or do I think of a human being and then say Allah is like that? No, time out, you see? So you have to, if you study the Quran, you will come across these ayat where you have to know what is intended by these ayat. Allah rose over the throne. What does that mean? What is the arsh? How did Allah, all of these ideas, they are only resolved and addressed in the aspect of Tawheed, or the category of Al-Asma' wa Sifat, the names and attributes of Allah. Once you've comprehended them as the Sahaba did and the Tabi'een, and they had no difference on that, that's the best news for you. While they differed on many fiqh issues from the time of the Sahaba, they never differed on these matters. Aqidah, it was agreed upon, consensus, alhamdulillah, including the 4 Imams. No issue. And Imam al-Dhahabi has a book authored on this topic, Al-Ulul al-Aziz al-Ghaffar. Read it. I don't know if it's translated to English or Urdu. So then you have to know this. Now you know who Allah Azza wa Jal is. Khalas. You've met the objective of life, the purpose of life. From that moment onwards, you are protected in terms of your belief, inshaAllah. So now you try to do your best to worship more, voluntary prayers, fasting, Mondays and Thursdays. Then the manners and the good character, all of them become nice add-ons. But you have the software, if I may say, upgraded. You're on the right track. But you're using a system with viruses and you want to put an application. As soon as you install it, it gives you, another 3-4 pages open up with viruses and nakedness and what have you. This doesn't work because you don't have the stuff proper. So if you have to know this stuff. It's not something that we just say, no. You have to study it. Allah created you. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. How are you going to worship Allah if you don't know Him? How are you going to pass an exam if you don't know the content? How are you going to marry a woman, for example, or be able to live with her for 20, 30 years if you don't know her? She's full of surprises. You have to know how she is. She has to know how you are. So whenever one of you is slipping, the other one is cool enough to let it slide. You see? I'm not talking about knowing each other before marriage. But you have to know whatever it is that you want to survive with. Ignorance is not bliss. So you learn this. Once you have that, inshallah, you're good to go. And it's all there. No mystery, you have to go and tell you. You go to Egypt, right behind the pyramid over there, you will find a little, chest. Open it, you'll see a little message. Open it to give you the phone number of Fulan, send him a WhatsApp. Tell me about Aqidah. La ya habibi, it's all out there. Just take the time and study it. Nah, Jazakallah khair. Yeah, alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. If you want, I don't want to promote, but I've already maybe helped out in the sense that I've delivered all of these topics already. Each one of them, there's a lecture on it on YouTube, flat in your face. The title tells you what it is about. Then on the website, onewaytoparadise.net, there's a whole Aqidah book. I think it's over 200 MP3 files. Going over a whole book about the names and attributes of Allah. Completely dedicated, in English, free of charge. You can have a bulk download. Listen to it while going to work, on the way back. But don't try to listen while you're working because usually you don't know what you're typing anymore. It happened to me before. I'm trying to listen to a lecture, then I was typing something about business, then I type the word Aqidah. I'm like, wait a second, what am I? This is not part of this. Turn off the thing. So yeah. Jazakallah khair.